Welcome, friends. Today we'll look at 3 more valuable lessons from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you missed part 1, check it out here. My name is Lucas, and welcome. Now, if you're not familiar, Rich Dad, Poor Dad highlights the financial habits of wealthy people and empowers the reader to improve their finances. Growing up, I had a pretty poor financial education, so when my uncle introduced me to this book at 17, I felt like I had struck gold. After 2.5 decades of using the book as an instruction manual, I thought it would be fun to point out which lessons have been most profitable and how I use them to build businesses and get money working for me. So let's get into it. Know the difference between assets and liabilities, and then buy assets. Now, in Robert's words, an asset is something that puts money into my pocket. A liability takes money out of my pocket. He then goes on to say that the wealthy buy assets. The middle class buy liabilities they think are assets, and the poor only have expenses. Robert goes on to discuss the importance of acquiring income-producing assets, like rental real estate and owning businesses. And if you'd like to dive further into that, check out chapter 4. But I'd like to talk about assets and liabilities from a slightly different perspective. After years of working with clients raised in a consumer culture, it's become very obvious to me that the majority of us keep ourselves trapped in the paycheck to paycheck cycle because we buy way too many liabilities. Now, there's a lot of reasons why we do this, but the most common is that we have no accountability for our spending. So I'd like to offer a simple solution. Every time you're about to make a purchase, ask yourself, will this put money into my pocket or will it take money out of my pocket? Now, you can still buy the thing, but by running your purchases through this filter, it yanks you out of mindlessly consuming. So ask the question and focus your time and energy on acquiring assets. And once they do put money into your pockets, use some of that money to buy some fun liabilities. In Robert's words, the poor and middle class work for money, the rich have money work for them. Now, Robert goes into all kinds of ideas and strategies on how to get money working for us, and I suggest you give it a read. Having said that, most of the people I work with feel like they don't have enough money to invest. So I'd like to offer another way that we can get money working for us. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. In session 1 of the Big Split, which is free by the way, we sit down and run your numbers. We look at your income, your expenses, and your debts. Now, I do this for one very specific reason. 99% of the people I work with have more money available to them than they realize. They just don't know how to capture it. They don't know how to keep the money that they make. For example, I recently sat down with a family of 4. Both parents had second jobs, and one of them was even doing a third side gig. They thought that they needed more money. So we sat down and we looked at their numbers, their income, their expenses, and their debts. And I showed them how they were leaking $60,000 a year. 99% of the people I meet with are sure that they don't have any extra money and that they need more. But the truth is, we don't know how to keep the money that we make. The fastest way to get money working for you is to learn how to do more with what you already have. Plug your financial leaks and capture that wasted income. If you want to know how, comment the Big Split and we'll set up a free one-on-one call. In Robert's words, the rich focus on their asset column while everyone else focuses on their income. Most people are hyper-focused on making more income. So they work overtime, they get extra certifications, and they work side gigs. They're not buying assets, and as you saw in the previous example, they don't know how to manage the money that they already have. In my experience, minding your own business is a combination of acquiring assets and removing the financial habits that are keeping us poor. When we identify and plug our financial leaks, we're able to free up more cash, buy more assets, and when more money does come in, we know exactly what to do with it. Now, most people want to race to the finish line, but the truth is, building a strong financial foundation takes time. Paying off debt, well, usually that's going to take a little time, but as you go through that process, you're learning several different things, mainly to never go into debt again. So to recap, learn the difference between assets and liabilities and focus on buying assets. Instead of working for money, trading hours for money, learn how to get money working for you and mind your own financial business. And there you have it. 3 extremely profitable lessons from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've not read it, I highly, highly recommend it. And if you have not seen part 1 of this series, I talk about 3 other habits that you can do directly from the book that are going to improve your finances. So check that out right here. As always, thank you so much for your time and energy. I'll see you in the next one.